welcome to More to Space Than Air with Ayomide Adefejidemole. Today I have with me a very strong woman in space, a dear friend, Rania Toukebri, who is a Tunisian aerospace engineer. She works on space systems design and assembly integration and testing, AIT, working on spacecrafts, satellites, and telescopes. She worked for 8 different European Space Agency projects, mainly for Earth observation and space exploration, previously with DSI Aerospace, Airbus Defence and Space. More specifically, she worked on the onboard computers, data handling units, and mass memories and payloads. Amongst the projects include Jupiter, Icy Moon Satellite, Biomass Satellite, Plato Telescope, and the list goes on. She is currently conducting research on the new generation of OBCs for the lunar missions with the University of Lübeck. Rania is the regional coordinator of Africa for the Space Generation Advisory Council and Space for Women Mentor, a program initiated by United Nations Office of Outer Space Affairs. Thank you so much for being here, Rania. It's my absolute pleasure to speak with you today.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the nice introduction.
I know that we've just read your bio, but if you could please give us a brief introduction into who Rania is and any other interesting thing that you might want to share with us at this time.
Yeah, so just to add on what you have mentioned, I'm very much doing right now research on the creation of new onboard computers for the next lunar missions. The idea is to make it for the long-term missions, but the first one we have right now is the lunar mission, the Artemis missions. And the idea is to create something completely new we don't have before. So a new architecture of onboard computers we can use later on for the space sector. And it's going to be based on neuromorphic platforms in order to simulate the brain activities and to make the functionalities of the brain on a system that will be used later on for space, respecting, of course, all the conditions that we have outside, like the radiation and different other conditions. So I've been based on the previous projects I've been working on, so the 8 different projects I've been involved in. So they were all, let's say, having the same kind of architecture. So I wanted to have something new, innovative, in order for us to improve the different, just to work on the different challenges we have and to improve the system we have, like in terms of power consumption, in terms of processing, in terms of also size and weight. So these are the main challenges we have for spacecrafts and mainly for onboard computers, processing in general. And I'm also regional coordinator for Africa in SJC. It's an organization that is very attached to the United Nations Office of Outer Space Affairs activities. And the goal is mainly to put everybody on board. So like the young professionals, the students, the space agencies, universities, private sector in the same table, and to try to focus on the most important topics of space. So currently, for example, we talk a lot about space security, we talk about space education, we talk about how to make space more democratized in different kind of emerging countries. And since I'm regional coordinator for Africa, so the goal is mainly to make the space education for everyone. So that's something I do in annex to my technical activities, and this is very much useful, so at least we can participate to improve the African industry. So it's going in parallel with the creation of the African Space Agency, which is fantastic news for us. So we can participate to have the better capacity building and to support the young people who want to have a career in space. As well as you have mentioned, so I work also as mentor. So this is a program initiated by United Nations Office of Outer Space Affairs, and the goal is to mentor ladies to pursue or to have a career in space. So I mentor them either technically, so I can give them either lectures, ideas about space systems, for example, my expertise, or to mentor them in terms of how to become an aerospace engineer or just an aerospace leader, if you may use the word.
Thank you for that. And talking about going in parallel, what does it mean to be an aerospace engineer? How did you get into this role, and what does your job usually entail?
Yes, so becoming aerospace engineer is something that you have to prepare. You don't need to have a diploma in aerospace engineer from the beginning. You can have other diplomas that will prepare you for this career, which means you can be, for example, mechanical engineer or electronic engineer, computer science engineer, and be very good in this in order for you to prepare yourself to have either other masters in addition, or even to go work with it directly, because the space industry is becoming more open right now. It's not like before. So before there was more requirements, more conditions, harsh conditions to accept people in this industry. Now it's allowing everyone to be there. So the space jobs are becoming more diverse, and it's accepting many people there. So becoming aerospace engineer, it's something that is joining the dream you have to work in space, and also to do this in reality. So you are building systems, real systems that are going up there. So they are doing fantastic and great missions for space exploration, for example, going to Jupiter, going to the moon, or even just doing satellites that do Earth observation for very important missions, like the disasters management. So so how important it is right now to have at least control over what's going on, or to prevent, at least if we can, of course, via the space application. So you feel that you are playing a major role in just using it for humanity, and also for daily activities, or also for just exploring the universe up there. So it's just great.
Thank you for that. My next question to you is on a conference speech that you recently gave on the future of humanity and the role of space applications to support the SDGs. I wanted to ask if you could share some takeaway with us on this conference.
Space for Humanity is, as I said, using space applications to improve the future of humanity. There are two segments. There is a segment of bringing space down to Earth. So this is something we always repeat non-stop. So bringing space down to Earth, meaning you are using the space applications, the satellites, telescopes, and so on, in order to manage what's going on Earth. So in order for us, for example, to check the resources we have on Earth, the agriculture evolution, for example, or different resources we have, the mines, different other resources in the four corners of the globe. And there is also the second segment, which means advancing humanity in terms of space. Like if you want to go beyond Earth, if you want to live outside of Earth, so how we can advance humanity to discover new worlds, or discover another life outside of where we live right now. So having space for humanity, or trying to use space to move humanity from the level we are right now, is something very important, because it's important to solve solutions we have and to solve problems we have, but it's also important to really to look further. We're not only here to solve issues, we're also here to improve, to do something new, to discover, to go beyond the level we are right now. So that's how we use space for humanity.
That's really profound. Thank you. Because the Sustainable Development Goals are very important, right? So when we're talking about sustaining an economy, it means that we need to improve on both our political, economic, and people capital. So I believe this is, the stage that people are waiting for. And the next question would be amplifying the importance of space engineering on a cultural level, particularly for emerging countries, when people are unaware of this sector and its many benefits. What can you speak to that? How can we encourage the importance of space engineering?
When we make speeches or talks in the emerging countries, in Africa, for example, the first thing we try to say either to governments or to engineers or to students, the first thing we try to mention is how we can use space in general for our daily lives. Because of course the speech depends on different conditions we currently have. It depends on the priorities of each one of us. It depends on the budget we have. It depends on the current conditions, economical, political, there are different factors to make people understand how space can be used. So in order for us to have in space engineering more useful or more impacting in Africa, for example, we have to be sure that this sector is gonna support the socioeconomic development. So if we know that, for example, in Africa, we can use satellites to have more management over the resources we have, or we can use space satellites to have a management of the economical situation and to avoid the disasters we have or to control the disasters we have. So of course, we can have people encouraged to have space agencies, to have companies, to have people working for space, to have human capital, to have people that will have an education in space. So it's gonna be a full infrastructure that we are preparing. So that's why, in order for us to just talk about space engineering, we need to talk why you are using space engineering. And of course, the technology we will be using, it depends also on what we will be having. So for example, if we don't have enough budget to build the big satellites we have, we can use small sats, we can use CubeSats that are much less expensive. We can use different other technologies. We can use space services, not just space products. So this is becoming very flexible in order for us to talk more about democratizing space. So democratizing space is allowing everybody to be involved in space.
Great. I will piggyback on my previous question to ask if you have any proposal on how we can help promote space science within the next generation. And what would you consider important for the young professionals coming into the industry to know?
Yes, so space, as I said, is becoming something extremely useful in daily basis. So it's not something that is very dreamy like we had before. It's not just going to the moon or going to Mars. It's something we are using in a daily basis. So if you want to do a career in space, you have to know what are the requirements of this sector. You have to know that this is something that is going to be a bit complex, more than the normal systems we have. It's going to be something extremely ambitious, but at the same time, you have to know very well where you are going. So using space activities in Africa is very different from having space in Europe or in US or different other corners of the globe. So you have to know where you're going. You have to know how you can do things, what you currently have here. I'm talking either in terms of governmental perspective or also students' perspective. So it's like from governmental perspective, for example, if you want to have a better like a space infrastructure, we have to know very well what we want to use from space, what kind of projects we need for the country. But if we talk about students, it's also, you have to know as well. So you can use other jobs. You can become a lawyer for space. You can be engineer for space. You can be a biologist for space. And it's extremely important to have all these jobs together. So we're not only here astronauts, we're not just engineers. So there's a big variety of jobs we have. So I always ask people to do the things that they love doing. So in order for them to be in the right position, because it's extremely complex at a certain point, because the requirements of space are extremely harsh. So for example, on my case, as a space systems engineer, so a normal robot in Earth can be modified. You can make mistakes on it. You can just change it. You can make maintenance on it. You can have flexibility to change different parts of it. But once in space, normally you have no right to have mistake. So you have to be sure about what you're doing. You have to respect the requirements you have from all the agencies you're working with, or just to respect the requirements that are for space. And that's pretty exciting, but that's also extremely complex. And it needs lots of dedication, lots of work, lots of concentration. And of course, once you love what you're doing, so I think everybody can do this.
Awesome. I was going to ask you to share something, from your experience, from the time that your career started, on how you were able to build competency in the industry. If you would want to share that with us.
Yeah, so I didn't start from the beginning by being an aerospace engineer like many other brilliant persons. I started as a systems engineer because my first diploma was mainly electronics. Then I made other diplomas that are for space applications. The first thing I noticed that I think I was good for what I was doing, but I was not good enough. So I understood what were the things missing, what I needed to work on. So that's extremely important for you to make a good evolution in your career, to know what you are good at, what you need to improve. And it's not that automatic to make masters or to make a PhD just for the PhD or for the masters. You have to know why you are doing this education, why you're doing systems engineering, why you want to do a PhD on OBC, for example. What's the purpose behind this? And of course, you have on every day, on daily basis, you have to work on the things you're missing. So for me, for example, there are still many things I still don't know. I need to work on. I don't think I would make other PhDs, probably postdocs, but I think that it's something that you have to improve every day. It doesn't stop. So you have to be up to date. You have to keep improving your skills, either technical or soft skills. So this is something you do either for your daily job, so from 9 to 5 jobs with agencies, private sector, university, or also on organization level. So working with organizations is extremely important to improve your soft skills. So it gives you some leadership skills. It gives you the capacity to talk to everyone. I'm talking here from juniors to seniors, from CEOs to people who just started their career. And it's gonna help you a lot to work later on with different people with different backgrounds in your team. So remember that later on you will work with people, different kind of people, because space is now becoming very open and many people will come to work with you. So it's going to be very much easy and very pleasant and very good to work with everyone and be on the same page with them.
Fantastic. All right. Do you have any concluding remarks for us?
Remarks. I would say, so the future we will have in space will be extremely exciting. So people are probably not aware, but we will be very much working on the moon in the next decade, also on Mars. So this is something that will be real. So this is something that we will have different activities there. There will be more people working in space. There will be more astronauts. There will be different other activities on the moon itself, which is like a huge news for humanity. Imagine we will start living in another place different than Earth. That's just impressive. And also space will be very much open, and I can see now, so there are different new products in Africa in the space now, and different other countries started their just first steps in space. So you will see that in the next decades, there will be a big evolution in the space sector, and this is also great for everyone.
Thank you for that, Rania. If people want to connect with you, how can they do that?
Emails, LinkedIn.
Okay. That's great. Thank you so much for taking out time to speak with me today. From us at Multispace and Air, we wish you all the very best in your future endeavors, and we can't wait to drop those congratulations when this time comes. I know you know what I'm talking about. All right. Have a good one.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation.